Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back to the weekly Armchair Sports Talk. I'm Marc Biggs. This is my man, Sean Moroney. We've been talking about doing this one for a few weeks now. As you can imagine, obviously, I'm sure all of you are in group chats. It can be quite explosive, but we seem to wind each other up. It's all in jest. We mean it in all good faith. And we just wanted to try and sort of have these discussions, maybe make some comparisons going forward. A couple of ideas, obviously, for you, Scholes and Lampard. That's always quite a sort of big debate. Maybe sort of Vidic and Terry, that kind of thing. But today, we're going to talk about how the season's going so far. Possibly about the new ownership, obviously, of Chelsea. We know how shit the Glazers are, so we probably won't touch upon that so much and go from there. But Sean, great to have you on, buddy. I hope you're very well. And how are you?
Yeah, all good. Glad to be on. Obviously, like you said, we've spoken about this for a few weeks, and getting it ready. And yeah, it's finally here, so it's good to be on. Hopefully, translate some of the things we talk in the group chat and turn it into a good discussion for the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were saying backstage actually, like obviously, when it's one of those things where you have to be there, I think, and hopefully we can kind of portray that as best we can to you guys. And hopefully be as funny, because I tell you, sometimes we go in, I think everyone else feels a bit uncomfortable, but I'm sat back sort of in stitches. Right, so first of all then, we'll talk about, I think a good starting point, obviously, how both teams are doing this season. Obviously, it's been a roller coaster, I think, for you guys in particular, obviously with the new ownership, a summer window, which we will obviously talk about. And I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on Chelsea at the moment. Obviously, being the fourth best club in London at the minute, sitting in 10th, pretty in 10th. So just give me your thoughts on how you feel they're doing at the minute.
Yeah, it's a bit of a disaster. I think not all Chelsea fans. A lot are very impatient because of what happened with Tuchel, and I don't blame them. Obviously, it was like a knee-jerk reaction to sack him. And when he left, I think a lot of fans lost faith in the ownership then. And obviously, like, I don't think it's Potter's fault at all. But a lot of the fan base don't really want to give him a chance, I don't think. And as you've seen over the years under Roman, I think the Chelsea fan base can be quite spoiled. Like we're used to winning trophies and being successful, so I don't think a long spell without a trophy, without doing well, is going to sit right with the Chelsea fans. You can see the pressures on Potter already. I wouldn't be one of those. I'm willing to give time because, like I said in the group chat plenty of times, I think our biggest issue is the sacking of managers over the years. We've just accumulated a squad that was built under 5 or 6 different managers, so the squad is just really unbalanced. So I'd be happy enough to give him time to try and put that right and build his own squad and his own vision. And hopefully with the recruitment team then that Boehly has hired, hopefully that works out. Obviously, we speak about this a lot, Mark. This is one of the points I think that we always clash on. The lads get uncomfortable with is it's actually quite true what you say. In terms of we haven't seen it yet, but I suppose we can just hope that the recruitment team comes together and that Chelsea have put a good team together to look after the club and for future and the future windows and to build a good squad. But yeah, look, this season, I think it's been a bit of a disaster so far. It's going to be like this in the short term. It's probably going to be like a short-term pain for hopefully a long-term game that we don't know, but hopefully it is. So
do you think
that's the way to be honest?
The way that I see it, and I think Man United are kind of, especially Man United fans, are in the same sort of boat. I think we've been so used to over the years having so much joy and quite victorious, and obviously Chelsea in the last 20 years have been very successful. There's no doubt about that. But I kind of view a lot of Chelsea fans, particularly on Twitter, very similar to United fans, where they do run out of patience very quickly. I think United fans, I think Liverpool fans actually are beginning to be like that, a little bit entitled as well. But do you think that I appreciate that you can come on here and you can say, a bit more pain at the beginning for a little bit longer term game. But do you think there will be a number of Chelsea fans that might lose patience with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from day one, I think a lot already had. Like I said, I don't think they've been given Graham Potter a chance because of what happened and the way Tuchel left. A lot of fans were hurt by that. So, yeah, I think a lot of fans have been like that from the beginning. And right now, I think a lot of the, like, let's say 75-80% of the Twitter fan base are like that. Anyone that I kind of speak to outside of that, or any kind of groups that I'm part of outside, they're all calm. They understand what needs to be done and the process that we're going through. But yeah, I just think like the social media side of it, like Twitter and everything, is starting to lose patience already. Yeah, so that's the way it is. I think on Twitter, I think it can happen. Like you said yourself, United fans have been the same, and look, like probably rightfully so because of how big United are and everything. I get that, but like I think Chelsea fans and United fans, like I keep seeing a phrase like over the years with Chelsea right now. We've lost a few games, and the fans like just always turn to the same saying, like, it's Chelsea, we can't lose. But I just don't think anyone's kind of untouchable like that, and I just don't like that that kind of phrase that the fans have been using. Obviously United are so big, and like obviously even when you don't get Champions League, you pull Casemiro, you pull Anthony, whatever, Lisandro in the summer. But it's just I think Twitter fans can be fairly arrogant. I think that's a big issue.
Yeah,
like you said, I think Liverpool are going like that now. Over the years, they weren't. I think they were grateful for FSG when things were going right. Yeah. But now, when it's going a bit sideways, they've turned as fast as any fan base has. So, yeah, I think Twitter can be a tough place at times, but
just got to try and ignore it, I suppose.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about it earlier. Actually, Tuchel, I give you so much stick in the chat, and I think everybody else in there really. I just didn't see it coming. I appreciate obviously you get new ownership and they want to put their own sort of stamp on it and that kind of thing. Do you honestly, and I'll take whatever you say obviously is what you say, but do you honestly think that it was the right move to do? Because looking from an unbiased point of view, I really rate Tuchel. We talk about his cup record and that kind of thing, and obviously he came in 6 months with at that point, still 4 years of a team through various managers and still managed to get the Champions League. And I just feel that, I've said to you a few times now, I don't even know if Potter should have left Brighton. He's still in 8th and 2 places above you now. But yeah, tell me about that and how do you feel about that?
Yeah, look, and obviously in terms of coaching, there's no comparison between Tuchel and Potter, I don't think. I think Tuchel is he's definitely, without doubt, I think top 5 managers in the world anyway, at least. In terms of the football, and that was a bad decision. Like you said, when a new ownership comes in, they take over a club. I appreciate that. They might want to do their own thing, but like my big issue with it was the timing. So they should have done it. If they were going to do it for the reasons that they gave, they should have done it before the summer window. So Potter should have given pre-season, and he should have been given his own window rather than buy players for Tuchel and sacking him right after the window and been stuck with the likes of Aubameyang and that now. It just like, it's like in the group chat, I always stood up for Potter, and I still would, because it's not his fault where he's landed and who he's came in after. But I've always kind of stood up for him in the group chat and kind of got maybe defensive when you were kind of talking about Tuchel, saying that it was the wrong decision. It's probably just because he was probably my favorite ever Chelsea manager, and when he went, I was just heartbroken, so I was biting back. But yeah, look, overall, I don't think it was the right decision whatsoever. Because where we are right now, like obviously Tuchel didn't like doing the transfer side and having like a more hands-on approach and anything apart from coaching. But like we sack him, and then a few months later we get in 5 or 6 people that deal with all that. So like right now, if he was here, like he could just focus on the coaching, and we've got rid of him before we've got all that structure in place. So yeah, that's the issue I have with it. Like I'm sure you kind of agree, obviously, that it was the wrong decision and to sack him. As you've mentioned a few times in the group chat before, it's definitely been the wrong decision. But look, I think the club have got that wrong. Now, in the other sense, I think for once, I think United have gone the opposite direction. You've got it completely right with the manager you brought in. Like you could have brought in I know people were shouting for it for ages and felt like it was destined to happen. But Pochettino, for example, but they stuck out and went for Ten Hag,
Yeah,
and
I
look where
thought
it
that
is
was
now.
nailed on for years. Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah,
nailed
yeah,
on for years.
absolutely. And like, I think you've made the right decision. Like, it's literally, I think he was perfect for where you are right now. And like, you can see it already in the first 5 or 6 months where he's taken you. I don't think any other manager would have done that.
No, I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just like it's kind of polar opposites. Like, Chelsea made the wrong decision, brought in not necessarily the wrong coach, but like it's been a downgrade, and then United have picked the right coach. It's like it's a big difference. You can see in the league positions already. I wouldn't have expected United to get top 4 even at the start of the year. I was kind of predicting 5th or 6th, and you're looking very good for it now.
Yeah, well, we had a reaction last night, and I think everybody, it's really nice to feel that sort of buzz again. Something to enjoy again, something where you can see that United are controlling games and that kind of thing. And look, hopefully the owners will be gone within the next year. That's certainly I think further along than a lot of people know or believe. But I do think you're right. Things are going in the right direction, and I just hope that sort of continues. Really, it can't be worse than Spurs, though, can it? Absolutely abysmal at the moment, and I think, well, even if they draw this game, you're 6 points behind, and you might even become the second best team in London. So that'd be nice. A few people on the comments. Trevor, good evening, Mark. Just in for a quick hello and to let you know that the beard is looking as Chris. I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't read it until the very end. But thank you very much, Trevor. Absolute geezer. Evan as well. Obviously, we know him very well. The undercard of Bryant versus Fahy. Now the main event of Biggs versus Moroney. Absolutely. So going to top 4 positions, I think a lot of us sort of in that group as well, we were kind of predicting what we felt. I think that just to shame you a little bit, you predicted that Chelsea could possibly, with Boehly coming in, possibly be challenging for the title. Now, obviously, I know we're a long way away from that, but currently, Arsenal, City, Newcastle United, Tottenham looking out of form, Liverpool terrible, really. Fulham actually proving a lot of people wrong. I can't believe the football you see from them. They've got some very, very good quality players in. And Brighton, they seem to just do everything right, really. With whoever they appoint, whatever they bring in, the players they bring in, they just seem to do everything right. But as it stands, who do you expect to sort of be top 4, or do you think there might be any sort of changes, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so there've already been changes since yesterday for me because, I was predicting Liverpool to kind of come back, and I thought they might even get third, but after seeing them again yesterday, they're worse than us at the moment, to be honest. We're bad, and they're just as bad. Look, I think Arsenal and City will definitely get there. I think that's nailed on, and each day that goes by, I think United are the most nailed on after them. I wouldn't be too surprised to see you getting third. It's like I said, I don't when I've watched a few of your games, I've seen that, in my opinion, some of the performances haven't been great, but you've been getting the job done. It's just solid, and then some games like yesterday and the Wolves game, you blew them away, even though you only beat Wolves 1-0, but you should have scored 4 or 5. You've had those games, and obviously I'm not expecting Ten Hag to have 5 or 6 little wins every time he's for a season. He's building what he's building, but you're just getting the job done. So I think he could be third. Newcastle have been possibly I think Arsenal have been the best in the league this year.
I wasn't expecting you to be so unbiased, Sean, so I'm surprised by that. But
no, it's just the way Liverpool. I actually thought you would have been fighting for 4 because I thought Liverpool would come back, but they've just been so bad, and you've just been solid. You've been really solid, and you just look organised. I think that goes a long way, especially when the likes of Chelsea and Spurs and that are so bad. Yeah, so I think Newcastle have been brilliant so far, but I just always have a thing in the back of my mind about them. Now, I'd still favour them for 4th over us, Spurs and Liverpool at the minute. Looking at Chelsea right now, we'd be lucky to get Conference League. It just depends on how January goes. We might make a late push to try and scrape in a 4th. But yeah, I think Arsenal, City, United maybe, and then at the moment Newcastle for there. But I think if we did have a good January, if we got a midfielder and an attacker in, we can push Newcastle for fourth, I think. But yeah, that's the way I see it at the minute. Obviously you're confident of getting top four now at the moment, are you?
And you know what? I obviously, when we were having this discussion at the beginning of the season, there is a lot of bias involved, and I probably said it more hopefully as opposed to thinking that we eventually would. But I really feel that I've been lucky in the fact that he has come in. I think that we were talking about it today. The summer signings for United, and in comparison to Chelsea, and we'll move on to that at the moment. In my opinion, have just been chalk and cheese, really. And we have done really, really well. We got the players that he wanted in, not all of them, and he's really sort of built something around that, and it's been good. But I think, again, as we were saying earlier, if it wasn't for the first two games, I don't think we may be in this position still. I think it was a real kick up the arse for him to understand the Premier League and how he needs to adapt very quickly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think we've been very lucky, and if I'm honest, in my predictions now, I think it will probably stay the same with the top four. I mean, I just, unless something miraculous happens for Spurs, I don't think they're going to turn it around. I think they're going to continue to sort of drop points, maybe pick up a win every other game, sort of thing. Same with Liverpool. I don't think it's going to change much. I really think United will get third, and I said this months ago, and I still stick to that. I think I agree with you as well with Newcastle. They might just fade away. They're still not in that mentality of we're picking up a load of points every season. Yeah. We're used to this, you know what I mean? And maybe, and I guess I say that from a hopeful point of view as well. We don't know. They might still pick up points. They look good. Yeah. They look ruthless, and they look tough to beat. They've conceded 11 goals all season, which is the least, behind Arsenal with 14, which is absolutely mad. So who knows with that one? I'm just going to come to a couple of comments. A Bruno injury would kill Newcastle. I think he's on about. How do you even say his surname? You know this better than me.
I say Gumares.
Gumares. That would do. We'll learn that for next time for sure. Sean Moroney, a beautiful Scottish name. He's certainly not Scottish, but perhaps it is
close enough. Irish.
Close enough, yeah. So obviously, as I mentioned earlier, big changes over the summer, and I think it took us all, or certainly me, by surprise when you were not necessarily happy, but you were excited by the prospect of Boehly coming in. Obviously, you had a few potential suitors, but the one thing that struck me was that you were pleased that Abramovich might be going. Now, from us looking from the outside in, I think you've spent a huge amount of money over the years. He's brought a lot of wealth and trophies to you guys, and obviously we don't see all the sort of in and outs and what other things he doesn't do. Like, you've talked about the recruitment to me before, saying that the recruitment was bad, it wasn't really structured properly. But why were you happy, first of all, that Abramovich has gone? I just want you to kind of explain to everyone else watching, and why were you sort of happy that Boehly was the one that came in?
Yeah, so I think I kind of come across as a bit ungrateful saying that I was happy he was gone. Obviously we were very successful under him. He turned Chelsea from a 100 million club into a 2.5 billion club. Obviously he's done a lot of work there, and I'm grateful for everything. But like I've just spoken about, maybe the last, 2022, maybe the last 8 or 9 years, and we won the Champions League afterwards. After that, he threw money in still, and like it was very good. But like I said, he had so much money, and Chelsea was just his toy, that he didn't have like the right people at the club. I know I've been kind of vocal about Marina, and I've been against her, but when I think about it, it's not fully her fault, because she's actually not like a scout, or she doesn't know football. She's just a negotiator, and probably the best in the world at that, to be fair. But like, she's been there, and she has been finding players and negotiating deals. We've missed out on big targets because of penny pinching, and we've lost big players to other clubs over the years, and we've come in later on. What Chelsea were very bad at over the years was drawing out a situation where they could be after a player at the beginning of a window, and they drag it out and won't pay the money, and like at the end of the window they go and get a secondary option that doesn't work out. And that's what a lot of our squad is now that we're stuck with them. We're stuck with a lot of the players because of that. Like, we've bought secondary and third targets, and we've just been stuck with them on big wages and everything. And it's just, I think the trophies papered over the cracks. And obviously, we spoke about Tuchel earlier on, him being such a good coach, coming in, winning the Champions League, obviously getting to 4 or 5 finals. I know we didn't win them all, but getting there kind of papered over the cracks of the squad because like I said, I think he's a bit of a genius coaching wise. That just papered over it over the years, and it's only now when we've seen the change of ownership. And I told you about the investigation when the ownership changed about the suicide within Chelsea and like the bullying in the workplace, and there was an external audit done there. Just things like that we wouldn't have seen as Chelsea fans. Like, I didn't complain about Roman over the years because I wouldn't have noticed a lot of that stuff because we've been winning and because we've winning trophies. But yeah, it's only now when the new ownership has come in that I've noticed like a lot of the stuff. So basically, when the process started for the new ownership, obviously there was, I don't know how many, just over 80 or 90 bidders, but like not all of them are serious. When they cut it down to the last 7, out of all them, like, that I've read into, I just wanted Boehly's bid to win. And it wasn't just for Boehly, it's because there was 5 people involved in the bid, and each one of the 5 had expertise in different areas. So I was just confident that they'd be the right people to look after the club, and that's why I wanted that bid to come in. It wasn't even to do with the money. Like I speak to you about the United takeover, a lot of people probably want like a Dubai group or Abu Dhabi and everything, but I just said with United, like, you generate so much money that if you had someone like Jim Ratcliffe that I always speak about, that knows how to run a football club, knows what he's doing, that's all United needs to pump in. Like, if he looked after like the stadium and he just pumped in a small bit of money every year and like kept you going, that's all United need. And that's all I wanted really with Chelsea. And like, even the kind of the monetary sides of it, where Chelsea over the years, like, because Roman had so much money, he didn't need to like increase the revenue of Chelsea. He didn't need to get sponsorships in and everything. And Chelsea have been completely underperforming in that area. And obviously with American owners, you know what Americans are like. They want to get the best of revenues in and sponsorships and everything, make as much money as they can, because look, owners are there to make money, and obviously because it's the private equity group, they need to make money for their investors. So I just had a feeling with Boehly in the group that they had good expertise to rebuild a stadium with Jonathan Goldstein. I just felt like, they said in their pitch that they were going to bring in a recruitment team. I really wanted that at the club, and then just the sponsorships and just making more money for Chelsea, because obviously in the next few years, financial fair play is going to be coming in a bit bigger. So, like, if we don't get more revenues and more money into the club, we'll be left behind by the likes of United, and obviously Liverpool will generate a lot of money and be able to spend a lot more. So I just wanted that into the club. So that's why Boehly's group stood out to me.
Yeah, and all fair points. And obviously, these are we don't know sort of all the ins and outs that go on in a club, you know what I mean? So you can only kind of look at it at face value. And I think my thing with it, more than anything, is that I'm obviously used to the Glazers for the last sort of 16, 17 years. And from what I understand, I mean, FSG the same. The owners of Spurs ultimately are an American-based company or whatever it is. And I always see them sort of milking the club. Now, from my perspective, I didn't want that to change. Do you know what I mean? I wanted sort of Boehly to come in, being another American man that's going to view things very differently, want to bring in a franchise, and the things that he was saying at the beginning of the season kind of made me feel like, oh, you know, this is kind of the direction it's going to go in. But ultimately, he could well be the man. And this is the thing as well, and we've spoken about this so many times, but when someone comes in, it's all well and good sort of visualizing what it might be that they could do, but obviously we don't know what it is that they are going to do, and obviously we'll just have to see what's going to happen, see what kind of shit he comes up with next, and hopefully it doesn't burn you in any way, shape or form. I want to go on to transfers over the summer. I know that obviously you had massively high hopes for potentially who you could get in, the amount of money he was going to spend, and he certainly didn't not spend some money. He spent a lot of money in the summer. But I want to kind of what I'm going to do is I'll pick a Chelsea player, pick a United player, and I want us to talk about it as best we can, and then kind of give it a rating out of 10, and that's based on this season, not previously or anything like that. Just this season and what you're kind of expecting, I suppose. So we'll talk about Wesley Fofana first. My favourite to wind you up with, pretty much, isn't it? So listen, I understand that he is a phenomenal talent. There's absolutely no doubt about that. He's got a lot of ability and could potentially be a very, very good centre-back. But I find that 80 million, especially, and this was great for me because, we always get told about getting our pants pulled down with Harry Maguire for 80 million. Do you feel that it will come good? I know that you've got a lot of expectations for Fofana, but, he spent a lot of time on the sidelines. He had 6 good months at Leicester before he moved. So do you think that's justified? And then obviously give me... It's very difficult to rate him. I appreciate that, but give me kind of a rating on the performances you've seen, and then what you expect of him going forward.
Well, today when Greg had sent in the picture of the most expensive transfers, so far I've given him a 3 out of 10, but that's purely because of the injuries. Like, he's played 5 games now. One game he played, he was poor enough in, but the other 4, he was possibly like a first or second best player, brilliant in like the games that he played. Like, I think, like, when he's not injured, when he's playing, I think he's one of the best centre backs in England. I think he's absolutely brilliant. But like you touched on there, he spent a lot of time on the sidelines. I'm not that worried yet because, like I said, they're more impact injuries than anything. But the fact that he came back from the long-term injury and he got injured straight away in the exact same place again has me slightly worried. Now, if it was a live game and I seen what happened, I'd be able to kind of tell more about what happened in a behind closed doors game. Supposedly, it was another impact injury in the same knee, but yeah, I gave him a 3 out of 10 today. But that's for so far this season. It's kind of going to be frustrating because there's 2 or 3 of these signings with Chelsea where, like, so far they haven't set the world alight or there's been issues. But like, I think they're going to be great for us like later on. But yeah, just for now, I can only go as far as saying a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. And obviously it's been a bit of an unfortunate start for him. I just think I don't know. You were linked with so many players over the summer, and obviously a lot of those didn't happen in the end. I worry, and I know that you've said you bought a technical director in like Favel and so many other recruitment type people in order to try and run these things for you. But I think that ultimately it goes through Boehly at the end. And perhaps that could have a little bit of an effect. I feel like he's got a bit of a scattergun approach. I always use that term with you, like, and I just think that if you're not careful, and again, as much as I say we don't know what he's going to do, you have to wait and see. It's exactly the same from the flip side. We don't know what's going to happen. It could go the perfect way for you. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think for me. And I picked this guy out first, one, because I always take the piss out of him, but secondly, he's always going to be difficult to rate. But I think he's certainly got some ability. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But I think that I worry for you as well, considering his injury record. And I think I probably couldn't argue with a 3, maybe less, maybe a 2 for me. Right, moving on to a United one, and this is probably one of your favourites to pick out, is Anthony.
Anthony, yeah.
85 million from Ajax. A lot of hype and hysteria about him, and one of the best skills that I've ever seen ever. And there you go. So, what would you what do you think about him so far, and kind of your rating for him as well, buddy?
Yeah. So look, I've given Fofana 3, who's played 5 games. I'll give Anthony a 4, who's probably played about 6 good games, maybe. I'll give him a 4. Yeah, like I said, I'm not that high on him anyway. He is a good player. Like, he's good, don't get me wrong. But I don't ever see him being that top level. But in fairness to him, he played well against Spurs. He actually played well against Chelsea now, to be fair. Yeah. And I think it was the Newcastle game where I thought he played well. And And then obviously he went missing before the World Cup. A few players like Romero and that for Spurs were the same. Obviously didn't want to risk themselves, I think, before the World Cup. But
yeah, I think there was
let's
definitely a bit
just
of
say
that,
let's just say he was injured anyway, like people thought. So he missed a few games. He's been back. After the World Cup, I watched the Wolves game where it was the Wolves game. I thought he was quite poor, and then yesterday, not yesterday, the game before yesterday, he was okay in that
against Forest.
No, Wolves. Sorry, it was the Wolves game then where he was getting stick on Twitter by like a lot of the United fan base and stuff. But I was watching the game and I actually thought he was okay in that game. Just at the moment, you're probably going to disagree with me, but I'm just going to go with a 4 at the minute. There is room for improvement there, but he hasn't been the worst signing this summer. Like, I know he was expensive and everything, but I'll go to 4.
Well, they knew we were desperate for him, so I think that sometimes you've got to kind of ignore price tags and expectations. You know what I mean? I think sometimes that's not on the player, and I think that it does sort of bog them down a little bit more. But yeah, bro, I think that's a little bit harsh personally. I feel like he came in, he scored 3 goals very quickly, looked very skillful, had that sort of attitude that I feel like we've been missing for a long, long time. You know, someone with a bit of an ego. I think that even Chelsea over the last sort of 15 years, there's always been that one or two players that have kind of had that ego. Eden Hazard, Pulisic to a certain degree, but I know that you're not his biggest fan. I just think that he's been unfairly criticised even by United fans over the last few weeks. I think he's come in, he's done well, he's scored some goals. You know, he could have a bit of a better return. And then of course, the World Cup's coming up. He was absolutely desperate to come in. I think we all know he's probably not as injured as what he was making out, perhaps, and they knew that. And then since coming back, you know, he's probably not got enough match fitness. He's hardly sort of play. So me personally, if I was just to go on since he's come in, I feel that I couldn't really give him any less than a 7. Now, I know that seemed maybe quite steep, and I don't know whether you agree with me or can understand where I'm coming from or want to go in about it. But I just couldn't give him less than a 7 personally. But there you go.
Yeah. I look, if it was someone from Chelsea, and like I feel like if someone from Chelsea came in the summer and they were doing steady, I'd probably be the same. I'd give them a higher rating than like the standard rating. Like I'd probably go that one rating higher. Like, but that's fair enough.
Maybe too high. So Cucurella, another one that I take the piss out of quite a bit. I think actually he probably will be quite a good left back. Whether or not he's going to sort of fit into that left wing back role, I think is up for debate. I don't feel that he's necessarily come in and played particularly well, not badly by any means, but I just think I think it doesn't help when you're paid, you know, almost 62 million for him, that it helps him at all. But that's not his fault, as I say. So what would you say for him? How impressive have you been with him so far?
Yeah, so like I said the other day in the group chat, I think it was Greg had a pop with him. Like, this is fair enough because not a lot of people probably realise outside the Chelsea fans, but he played the first 3 games, like against Spurs, like he was the best player in the field, and he was very good in the other 2. And then he actually ended up in hospital being quite sick. He lost 15 kg, and I'll be the first to admit for maybe between then and the World Cup, he had some like very poor games. And that when he came out of the hospital, he had some very poor games, and he just didn't look up to shape. He kind of looked out of his depth, and that. Now I don't know whether that's like the change of shape. He's actually playing left back now. We played back 4 the last 3 games, which is good. I think left back suits him more. I completely agree with what you said on the left wing back situation. If we're still playing that, I don't think it suits him. Like it'd be like Chilwell when we started playing it under Tuchel first. It took him 2 or 3 months to get used to the position, but after the World Cup now, he's played 3 games now. Obviously, against Forest the other day, we only drew an all. It was a poor team performance, but I felt he actually played quite well again. He's been fairly solid since the World Cup ended. I'm going to give I'm going to give him a 4 because was it a 5 I gave Anthony? 4. I give him a 4.
You gave him
Yeah.
a 4. Yeah, you were really
Yeah,
harsh.
no, I think he's had as many good games as Anthony's played for United as well. So I'll give him a 4.
Sorry, I was talking, but I was muted. Yeah, I think that's fair, and I'd probably say this. I think actually maybe a 4. I think the whole team's been bad, and I think actually a 4 in my eyes. I'm going to be a little bit unbiased here, Sean. I think that maybe a 4 is a little bit low. I think maybe you could say 5. I think as much as I take the piss out of him, I think he's probably been one of your more consistent incomings. And the whole team's been playing bad.
Yeah, I was going to go with a 5, but I don't think I could have after I gave Anthony a 4. I think it's kind of like I feel like they're around the same. So yeah, like personally, so I'll give him a 4.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So moving to another left back then, Tyrell Malacia, obviously came in for a very small amount, about £12 million. A bit of a sort of unearthed gem, in my opinion. I absolutely love the man. I know you know this. I sort of rave about him all the time. It's obviously sat back a little bit more. Luke Shaw seems to have been pushed up, and we know what he's like with competition when someone comes in. So what would you, how do you think your season's been so far? And again, the same thing again, a rating for him.
Yeah, look, in terms of like when you take everything into account with Malaysia, I'm actually going to give him I'll go as far as a 5 because coming in, I wasn't expecting much out of him at all. But he actually came in, and when he played, he's done fairly well. He's been fairly solid. Like he was a cheap signing, like you said, and he came from the Dutch league. I wasn't expecting much out of him at all. Cheap enough, came in. He's done a very good job in the games that he's played. Now, obviously, he's been displaced by Shaw, who has had like another, like Shaw has these seasons where he's absolutely brilliant, and he's been exceptional this year. So that's nothing on Malaysia. That's just Shaw been good. But yeah, I just think anytime he's been called upon, he's done his job and he's been very solid, and like he's years to grow still. So I'm going to give him a 5.
Yeah, I think I'm going to probably be called up for being a bit biased here, but I absolutely love him, and he's made a couple of mistakes. There's no doubt about that, but I think that's kind of. And he's 22, actually. I don't even have that excuse. I was going to say, like, maybe a bit of inexperience, maybe a bit different in the Premier League. So I am going to be biased here, and I'm going to say a 6. I have been incredibly impressed. And I think that the other thing that really excites me is the sort of similar stature and the way that he puts himself about, similar to Patrice Evra. Now, I know that's a mad comparison, but I really believe at some stage he could potentially get to that kind of... It'd take a long time, but potentially get to something close to that, which would be great. I think this is keen in the comments. Malacia given a 6 as well, and he's Sean praising Shaw. Yeah, he's always going in on Shaw in the chat. So we'll speak to Tim and get that clipped out, I think. Just quickly before we go on to more players here. We've done 2 apiece now, and I'm not going to do Dubravka, so we've got 5 apiece to do. All right, so that makes it easy. But Evan is asking here, do you guys think Potter will win us something next season?
It's quite tough to say. Actually, yeah, I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say yes. Because I think...
Well, after the first 17... Well, not 17, whatever it was. I don't know how many games was it before he got sacked, Tuchel. But since he's come in, you feel that it's possibility. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt there, bro.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, I do. Purely because I just think with everything in place now, I think if we can get 1 or 2 in January, and if we... I think we're going to have a solid summer window. It's just, I think, like I've seen glimpses of, we played AC Milan in that this season. I've seen glimpses of the football that like Potter had going at Brighton. Obviously, we've a higher level of player, but like we've torn Milan asunder twice, and like he was in the first 10 games, he was unbeaten. I've seen potential there, and I think if we get rid of a few players out of the squad that don't want to be there, or I just don't think they're up to scratch, and we can kind of build on it in the summer. I think he can deliver us a cup next year. Now, I don't think he's going to win a Premier League or anything next season, or we won't even be in the Champions League. But I think one of the domestic cups, he'll have a good shot at it next season. Obviously, that's nothing major for a club of Chelsea's size, but I think we have a good shot at the cups. And
take any silverware at the moment, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and look, I'm gonna definitely say I think he can win something next season, but a lot depends on whether we end up in Europa League or the Conference League. If we can, I like I said, I take Europa League. I'd be happy enough with Europa League next season now at this stage, but I'd rather not come into the Conference League whatsoever. I'd just rather a clean run at the league next season with no European games rather than the Conference League. But
I'm sorry to point this out. I forgot all about this, but Keane, I think this is him as well. He did say the other day that he didn't want the Bum Cup, so he's obviously changed his tune. So
I take the FA Cup. I take the FA Cup. I don't mind the Carabao Cup. You can play the youth players in the Carabao Cup.
Right. Spurs 2-0 up. I was just going to have a look at the live scores actually. So Spurs actually getting a result today. By the looks of it, 2-0 up already, which I'm quite surprised at. Wolves beating Villa 1-0, obviously a bit of a derby there. And West Ham as well, all kind of results I didn't expect tonight. And Forest beating Southampton. Any surprises there for you, Sean?
Spurs winning the game is a bit of a surprise. The other one's not so much. Well, the Forest won away. Like Southampton are in serious trouble now.
They are in serious trouble.
I didn't realise until Greg said yesterday, they're actually bottom of the league. And
yeah, me too.
Forest are, well, they were 18th after they drew with us. So like if they're going to be beating them, they're going to be in serious trouble. Yeah, that's bringing Forest up 5 points ahead of Southampton. So they're in serious trouble.
Yeah, so that would be a big 3 points for them. If they win that. And West Ham, I think Moyes probably in massive trouble as well, really. They've had a very poor season, haven't they?
He should be, to be fair, because the players that he has there, like they spent big on Paqueta in the summer. He's obviously a very good footballer, but it's horrible seeing him play under Moyes. I know he scored a penalty today, actually. But yeah, I just don't think he's kind of tapping into the full potential of that team anymore. Maybe it's just going a bit stale. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think it's going to last much longer.
See what the final scores are in 20 minutes. Right, so moving back to the transfers. So moving on to your man Raheem Euro, as I like to call him.
Euro, yeah.
So how do you think he's done? I thought it was actually on paper a very, very good signing for you. I thought that it was something that you needed. You needed kind of a little bit of pace on predominantly on the left-hand side, isn't it? But on both wings, really. And but I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? Again,
yeah,
it's very difficult to analyze, really, because Chelsea, I don't mean this horribly at all, but because Chelsea have been so poor, the whole team, there's been no standouts at all. So it's very difficult to kind of judge on that. But how do you feel that he's been, and again, what would you give him out of 10 so far?
Yeah, like you said, it's so hard to analyze because if you watch Chelsea week in, week out, a lot of people will tell you since Tuchel left, Sterling has completely underperformed. But at the same time, he's a top scorer. He's probably our biggest goal threat. He's scored a good few goals for us. He's played very well against Bournemouth, but against Nottingham Forest again, I know he got a goal, but non-existent. So he's very hard to judge. But look, if I'm giving him a rating, he's been our best signing this year still. Obviously, it's not been hard to get that title, but I'm just going to give him. I think our signings this year have been fairly sus so far, but I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. I think that's our best rating out of our signings. I'll give him a 5. He's been solid, but he's kind of left us down in some games. So that's where I'm at with Sterling.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you at all. Actually, I think that I expected more of him, if I'm honest, and I think the change of manner certainly has affected him. But I think maybe I'd give him a 4. Actually, as I said, I expected more. The whole team's playing poorly. He is your top scorer. it's difficult for me to argue a less than a 5, to be honest with you. So I'll probably give him the same as you have.
Hmm.
So that's fair points, good points, well made. So bringing in another arch enemy of yours, who I think's absolutely been brilliant, gone off the board more recently, Christian Eriksen.
Oh yeah.
How do you feel he's done this season?
Yeah, he's actually done fairly well. Considering he was going for free in the summer and only United and Brentford fully went from him, has just baffled me. I seen a tweet about that today, and it just made me think about it, that like he was a free transfer and only 2 clubs were in for him. Especially when, like, I know Spurs at the start, they were rumours and they never made a move, but like the one thing that they do lack is creativity and obviously his connection to the club. I just don't know why they didn't go for him, but yeah, he's been fairly solid. I think he's second on the assist chart in England now.
Is he? I was thinking about this last night. I thought to myself, he's got quite a few now. It took him a little while to think to get his first one. Let me have a look at that, because you might be right, and I'll be quite.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's joined second.
Is he? With how many?
6 assists.
Oh wow.
So yeah, look, I'm actually going to give Eriksen a 7.
Yeah, well, that surprised me actually. I didn't realise it was that many. So yeah, Kevin De Bruyne with 9. He's always going to be close to top, isn't he? Saka, actually, he came from nothing. I mean, even in the first few games of the season, he was doing nothing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, pretty much after the United game, and he got a goal against United, he's really come up, and he's got 6 goals, 6 assists. He's killing it. I didn't know Eriksen is in third. I'm really
I've seen a
chuffed.
tweet. Yeah, I seen a tweet today, and it's like I didn't actually look it up because I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, maybe it's just fabricated, but it's actually true. Yeah. Yeah, no, I give him a 7. He's been very solid for you. Obviously, like the role he's playing actually kind of suits him. Obviously, I've said in the group chat, I think in that position, United do kind of lack someone who can carry the ball, run with it. But like for what he does, he's absolutely brilliant at it, and he's done well for you. So yeah, he's been solid.
Yeah, I will go with the same actually. I may have pushed it to an 8. I'm always a bit apprehensive with Christian Eriksen. Obviously, an awful thing 18 months ago, what happened to him, and he's bounced back like an absolute phoenix. And I'm so pleased with that. But he's completely. I know Casemiro. We'll talk about him in a minute. He's changed it as well. But I think Eriksen's brought so much to the team. Just some sort of intelligence, professionalism, that kind of thing. And I've been very impressed with him. And I didn't know that about the assist. Thanks for pointing that out. Really, really pleased with
More
that.
ammunition for the group chat.
Yeah, it certainly is, mate. I'll be writing these ones down and firing them there as the season goes on. So moving back to Chelsea, who have you got left? So you got Aubameyang, Kalidou, Koulibaly, and who else did you get in the summer? Dennis Zakaria, I suppose.
Zakaria, yeah.
We'll have him then. So let's talk about Koulibaly. How do you feel he's done this season? I go into him a lot. I actually about 5 years ago, I really, really wanted him, and I think this is kind of the time when City were also interested, and it was one of those where you kind of City United would battle for some signings and whatever. And I really rated him, and I think it's more. I'm disappointed he didn't come to United. Perhaps not now. We don't need him now.
Yeah.
But and that's why I'm probably going in on him more than I probably mean to. Yeah,
like the thing I think, like watching him week in, week out, and like when you say that a couple of years ago, you would have 4 or 5 years ago, you would have liked him. I just think his body's catching up with him now. If he stayed in Italy, he'd still be regarded as one of the best in the world, I think. But just the pace of England, he doesn't seem to be kind of like adapting to it. He's been fairly poor now. I'll give him a 2 out of 10 because he actually started off quite well the first few games, but the last 4 or 5 games before the World Cup and these 3 afterwards, he's been abysmal. He's probably been like top 1 or 2 worst players in the field. He's been really bad. He's really dodgy.
That pleases me. That does, to be honest.
Yeah, and me. Like I actually had high hopes because the first game, like scored an absolute rocket against Spurs, and he was very good against them. and he played solid. He was solid for the first few games, and the turning point for him really was the Leeds game where we got beaten 3-0.
Was that another Tuchel thing? Him leaving? Was he in before Tuchel? He was.
Yeah,
Wasn't
he was. Yeah, he was actually supposed. Well, like obviously I can't clarify because I don't know the ins and outs of the club, but supposedly he was a Tuchel signing. He wanted an experienced defender to replace Rudiger when he was gone. But yeah, the turning point was the Leeds game, beaten 3-0, but he got sent off second yellow near the end of the game, and ever since then he's just been horrible. But yeah, just I'm stretching it to 2 out of 10. I'm being maybe a bit generous on him, but yeah, there's one player that we signed that's going to be a lower rating, but yeah, Koulibaly 2 out of 10, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I promise you, I haven't saved the best till last in my favour at all. That was just the way that happened in the end. But I can't disagree with you. I thought it would be a good signing for you. You know what? I think I was thinking about the other day. I think that what really doesn't help, and I know it seems really, really silly, but you know, when he did all that post about speaking to John Terry, taking his number 26, and then he's just not performed. I just feel like that's a little bit more of a kick in the nuts, personally. And I know that's so insignificant, but I sort of thought about it the other day. So moving back over to United then, and we'll go for another centre back. Lisandro Martinez, who I absolutely, like most Man United fans, absolutely adore. And what we'll do in a minute, obviously you can give me a view on him and how he's fared and rating or whatever, and then we will do a quick who plays in the back two out of all the United and Chelsea centre-backs. But go on.
Yeah, so yeah, Lisandro, he's basically, in my opinion, he's remember when we had Diego Costa years ago and people hate him, but it's the exact same because I'm not going to lie, I can't stand him now. Like ever since like the Chelsea game and the game before it, I think Shane actually mentioned it in the group chat. Like it drives him mad. He wasn't necessarily on about Lisandro, but it was Chelsea United were playing, but he hates kind of like players that act the big man, if you get me. But he done it against Chelsea, but he went for like Jorginho, like the smallest lad.
I remember that. I was absolutely elated.
Yeah, I was fuming looking at it. But yeah, no, he's been. Besides that, look, obviously, like I said, I don't like him. But apart from that, he's been probably I'm trying to think of the other players. He's been like a top 2 or 3 centre back in the league this year. So I've seen Keane's comment there. I agree. I give him a 9 out of 10. Yeah. He's actually been a very good signing now. When he got him, I just thought he was going to be a steady player. He's good in that, but he's been way better than I expected him to be.
And I think after that first game that he played in against Brentford, he was potentially culpable for 2 goals. I think we all thought the same. We were like, shit, you know, a little bit worrying. And Carragher made his comments about him being too small, but he's absolutely kicked on from that. Now a world champion. And absolutely killing it. So I'm really happy with that. So who would your back two be then in a back four? Your 2 centre backs out of all the Chelsea defenders and the United ones.
The back 2. I'm going to match up styles. I'm going to go Rafael Varane and Thiago Silva. Like I said, I just think Thiago Silva is the man. Like, and even with Chelsea have underperformed, like there's been 1 or 2 times this year. I remember, I think it was the Greb we played where he was actually playing well and he misplaced the pass and they got a shot off it and the group chat lit up, like saying, "Oh, he's done that like 4 or 5 games in a row now," and that, which wasn't true whatsoever. But yeah, I just think he's exceptional. Reads the game well. He's very good ball player and that. And look, I think Lisandro is great, and it's unfair to leave him out too, but I just think Varane will complement Silva more than. I think he's very quick. Again, he's good on the ball. His recoveries are very good as well, and he has that bit of height as well. I know Carragher and Keane have a bit of history with this with Martinez's height, but just to make sure, I'm just going to have Varane there who has a bit of height as well, and Silva beside him.
This is a massive call here from Evan, and surely you can't agree with this.
In terms of performances in the Premier League, I won't agree. But if you're on about just over a career, a career, not even history now. Like I said, in the last, he started playing kind of around in the 2010s, and like these 2 years, I think he's like personally, I'd say top two. He's not first because Ramos is first, in my opinion. But I think Silva would be second or third in that category. But yeah, Evan was made up for Silva as well, so I think it's spectacular. So who are you going to go with?
Yeah, so I think I am going to have to be biased on this one. Now, listen, I'll explain two things. If I was to have to go United, one Chelsea, I'd have Lysandro. And the reason why I'd have that with Thiago Silva is purely because Lysandro is a lot quicker than Varane. Varane isn't slow by any means, but he's more of like our sit back and cover kind of thing, as opposed to Lysandro sort of being able to get back and turn a bit quicker. So I would do that purely on that basis. And I know that it's early days, but I honestly, I can't, as well as the last one that we talk about for United side, I've been absolutely over the moon with him, and I'm very pleased that it's shut a lot of people up. When you've got people criticising his height, which is absolutely scandalous, it's always a lovely sort of turnaround when it doesn't work out that way. So yeah, I would go a 9, and yeah, I honestly at the moment, based on this season, how many goals have you conceded? So you've only conceded 18.
18, yeah. You've conceded 20,
which
so
is less.
this is backfired on you, Mark.
It really has. I should have prepped beforehand, brother. That's a good shame. All right, well, in that case, then I will go Silva, but I will stick with Lysandro. I really wanted to make a good case.
Yeah, no, that's
Varane and Lysandro, but it's not going to happen for me.
That's fair. But no, you've actually taught me something, because I haven't watched United obviously as much as you this year, but like Varane is quick, so Martinez is obviously very quick.
That surprised me. I thought you watched them all the time because you've always got something to say on your.
I've watched a few games this year, but yeah.
No,
watched the first 2 of the season, and then
of course you did. And since then you haven't bothered.
I haven't watched any of your wins.
All right, last one. And probably, and again, I've not done this on purpose, but obviously very in favour of us. Probably not so much for you. Aubameyang. Obviously came in from Barcelona, a little bit unexpected. How much did he come in for in the end? 8 million? It was quite small.
£8 million, yeah. So it's like 10 or 11 million.
Yeah, about 11 million euros. So, I mean, he's been terrible, isn't he? Didn't he have an opportunity? Yeah. Oh no, that was Martial. But no, he did. Who was your last game against? He had an opportunity.
Forest, remember Ziyech crossed it. Remember?
Yeah, perfect. Ziyech as well has surprised me a little bit this season. I really like him actually, and I know you're not a fan, but that was a perfect cross.
Yeah, I've just been not a fan since the Zagreb game. The game before Tuchel got sacked. We were getting beaten 1-0. He brought him on with like half an hour to go, and it just felt like he was trying to get Tuchel sacked when he came on. Just the attitude and everything. I don't like that, so I haven't liked him since. But like you said there, any game he's going to play since Potter came in, he's been like that game. He was very good, but the other ones he was solid, and he had a really good World Cup as well. So, yeah, look, we'll probably end up cashing in on him soon enough. But I have to give him his flowers. He was very good, and he came on today.
Yeah. So Aubameyang, is that, or is that?
Yeah. So, like, I'm not going to give the only transfer of Chelsea I've ever given a 0 out of 10 is Lukaku because of what happened. But
Aubameyang, we did try and tell you.
Greg. Yeah, Greg got me today. I remember when he came in, like we were really good. Obviously, the year before, won the Champions League, and the squad was really good. And we brought him in. We were just missing a striker. I thought he was the missing piece, but Aubameyang, I'll give him a 1 out of 10. He started off first 4 games. He was actually very good. He scored against Milan, scored against Crystal Palace, and he scored 2 against Milan, actually, games. And then since, he's just been dreadful. And any game he's come on, he's just taking minutes off some of the younger players, comes on for 15, 20 minutes and just like jogs around, and he's just been horrible. So, yeah, that's a 1 out of 10 for me.
I feel like tonight you're being a bit too honest, Sean. I was expecting you to raise your scores a little bit more. So I feel like you've given them some very fair scores, and I can't disagree with all of them that you've said, if I'm honest. So unexpected, but there you go. I'm here for surprises, so that's nice.
Yeah.
So last but not least, go on. Which
I was going to say, it's just tough for me on like the two harder ones were Fofana and Cucurella because, like, I think they're
Yeah.
going to be good, but I have to be fair to them at the minute. I think Spurs are 4-0 up.
4-0 now.
4, Son and Matt Doherty.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so.
Very surprised. I was hoping to go in on Steve a little bit tonight, but
yeah,
but we can't.
So yeah, we're coming on to probably, I suppose, the best sign of the whole lot, are we?
Yeah, and I said it today, to be honest. Yeah, I really feel like he's going to be the sign of the summer. Genuinely, and I don't mean across all 5 leagues. I just mean in the Premier League. If he doesn't get into that Premier League 11, I think Martinez will get in there as well. But I think Casemiro, he came in, weren't sure, wasn't getting any games. We're like, what's going on? But again, I think this kind of proves a point, and you kind of alluded to it earlier. Erik ten Hag has really sort of embedded things very, very well. He's kind of nurtured even Rashford and Shaw and a couple of other players, But I think he knew what he was doing, brought him in, and we've not looked back, have we?
Yeah, no, sorry. I seen Evan sing that. I almost went in on it earlier when, what did Evan say? When Evan asked us part we're going to win a trophy, I was going to bring it up, but I didn't. No, he's actually been quite good for us, Evan, since Potter came in. He's gotten 2 or 3 games in a row. He's been okay. Yeah, look, in terms of Casemiro, obviously when he got him in the summer, he's the one signing where I actually, like, I was bantering you, but I actually had respect for. Where, like, I knew he was going to be a good signing, but I just had to get, like, Diggs in at the age and all that. He was not that old, but
not pensioner's age like Koulibaly, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a year in the difference, yeah. But
you wouldn't think
say,
you wouldn't think
yeah, no, not at all. So yeah, he's been very solid. I said in the group chat earlier, I'm not sure if it came across, like I got my point across, but obviously your first choice would have been De Jong in the summer in midfield. If you got him, maybe you wouldn't have got Casemiro, but I just think you've absolutely fell on your feet with him. Like, to me, it's possibly the most important position on the team across the whole league season. Like, if you have a good DM like him, like, it makes a big difference against, like, the lesser sides. Like, you see in Chelsea the other day against Forest, that second half, they absolutely destroyed us, and most of that just came from being physical in midfield and just running clean through the Chelsea midfield. You can't do that to United anymore. And a big thing I with that was like last year we played you twice. Obviously, we were better last year than we were this year, but like, we were a lot better in the 2 games than you last year. I know we didn't beat you in any of them, but this year was the first time in like 2 or 3 years where we played you and, like, you've played us off the field. And I think it's like he's a big reason for that. Just having him in midfield like that.
Scored the goal as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually did. Yeah, at the end. But yeah, look, he's been brilliant. He's probably, like, leaving out the obvious thing of Haaland, and even Haaland, like, obviously he's been brilliant, but I don't think he's affected City in a good way. I think Casemiro has had a lot more of a positive effect on United than Haaland has with City. So I actually kind of agree with you so far about him being the signing of the summer. It's not that often I give 10s, but I'll probably give him a 10 because he's been flawless when he played. He didn't play the first 2 games where you were shaky in that, and so I'll give him a 10.
My respect for you, Sean, tonight has gone up massively. I can assure you. Fair play, and he's been amazing. We've spoken about this so many times. I feel like, particularly with Pogba, and I said it last night on the show, a defensive midfielder since Carrick, and even 1 or 2 years before Carrick stopped, we've needed a defensive midfielder. I mean, Matic, we got him off you. Bit of a steal for you in the end, really, because he came in, had one good season, and then was really fell off a cliff, didn't he?
Yeah.
But I think he's been amazing. And honestly, I can't speak enough. It's so good to watch, and I really hope that continues. And yeah, we could have done with him with Pogba. I know your views on Pogba. I'm kind of in Shane's boat a little bit. I really think he's an amazing player. He just didn't quite have the right people around him. You're going to say something, sorry, buddy.
No, actually, I think because of what everyone is like with Pogba, he probably got me mixed up. I actually really rate him. I really liked him as a player, but obviously
I probably did get you mixed up then, yeah.
Yeah, it's just look, it's probably wrong player at the wrong time. Like you said, if he was here coming in this year and you had Casemiro on that there, it might be a different story. but like he wasn't a disaster for EC Fair either. I think I gave the signing a 5 or 6 out of 10 today. Overall, like he was still decent, but like with the talent that he had, he just didn't hit what he could have hit with United. So, but yeah, you're on about Casemiro being a joy to watch. I've seen a clip today. I didn't actually watch your game last night, but there was one section of the game where he took it down on his chest outside your box and like first time sprayed it on the volley. I can't remember who it was, out to the left wing, but like the start of the counter attack just in space of a second, like it's just that makes a big difference to teams.
I think that's been surprising. Even well for me, I didn't really, other than the big games we saw Real Madrid, I didn't really know enough about him. I didn't watch him enough, and I think what's something that's taken us all by surprise is just his passing ability. You know, when we looked at Frankie De Jong, we knew that someone could be coming in that was quite sort of defensive and a very good passer of the ball, but also quite direct going forward.
Yeah,
we didn't expect that at Casemiro, and I think that's I think someone summed it up beautifully last night. Is that when he was at Real Madrid with Toni Kroos and Modric, he didn't have to do the 10% of things that he's doing really well at United now. Do you know what I mean? I feel like now it's not unlocked him. I think you can never say that he won so many trophies, but I feel like he's coming in to a team that's very, very different. You know, you have Modric and Toni Kroos doing all those kind of direct forward passing. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like he's allowed to do that more at United now, and it took us all by surprise. So there you go. Just a couple more questions for you, bro. We'll be finished up in a second. I really appreciate you coming on tonight. It's been good fun, and been good to get more of an insight next week. Well, next time we do this, as I said, we'll do something more of who's the best centre back, Terry, Vidic, something like that. And we'll bring something to the table. But your next few games, big ones. City tomorrow, Premier League. I'm desperate for you to beat him. To be honest, I'm not obviously a City fan, regardless, but I really want United to maybe even leapfrog them.
Yeah,
that would be nice, just for mentality, But what are your feelings for them tomorrow, and then again this Sunday in the FA Cup? You've got them again at their ground.
Yeah, so obviously everyone's kind of afraid of Haaland and De Bruyne. Obviously, City have a lot of talent in their team, but I don't know what it is. Like, we've been so bad lately, but I'm more confident in this game than I will be against Nottingham Forest. I don't know why. Like I said to you, like I said in the group chat, and I said it today, like in this show, and I said it in the group chat, like our big issue is teams that have physicality in midfield and just run straight through us. City are going to try and they're a lot better technically than us and they're good on the ball, but they'll actually try and play football against us, and they're not like it kind of suits us more. I'm just hoping, look, they're shaky enough at the back. Obviously, our forward line is terrible, but this like we've done okay against them the last few years in fixtures. So I'm hoping we can get a result there. FA Cup's different. It's like one-off game. I think they're fairly good in domestic competitions. Like, that's going to be a very tough game. I'm not sure what way Potter will line up. I would have liked him to see a few youngsters in the FA Cup. Unfortunately, we've drawn City, and he's under a lot of pressure, so he's probably going to put out a full team in that. But yeah, look, I'm hopeful for the league game, less hopeful for the cup game.
And who have you got? We got Charlton in the Carabao Cup. Who have you got in the Carabao Cup?
The bum one.
Yeah.
We
forgot you're not in it. I forgot you're not in it. Right, listen, guys. That's all for tonight. Obviously, as I said, we'll be changing it up in a few ones that will come over the next couple of months. Probably when we got a bit more of a break. I know that Sean's a busy man. But listen, bro, it was great to have you on tonight. It was good fun, and we'll see you all very soon. As I said, another reaction on Friday for Man United, obviously, against Everton, and then I'll be doing one again next Tuesday. So make sure you come back to join those, and we'll see you very soon.